Hi, welcome to Chamber Chat TV. This month we're doing something new today. We're actually standing up. Who thought that would be new and exciting, but it is for us. I'm Danielle McFadden. I'm the president of the Greater Lowell Chamber, joined by...
I'm Emma Brooks, the Director of Member and Community Relations.
And we're so excited to have Rita McCabe here. She is the CEO and owner of Sub-Zero Nitrogen Ice Cream.
Awesome. Thanks, guys, for having me. Appreciate it.
Thanks for being here. You were on last year, and I was almost 9 months pregnant, and I was jumping and hopping around because I was so excited. So I'm excited to be here, not in that state, and able to jump even more.
There you go. Awesome.
So let's talk a little bit about Sub-Zero ice cream and why it's a better product and what makes it different.
Sure. So this is a patented process that was actually on Shark Tank. And so we saw it on the show. That's how literally we got involved in it. We saw the Shark Tank episode and we were like, this is awesome. We have to bring this to New England.
And it was your first time watching Shark
Yeah, it was.
Tank,
It was the first time we ever watched the show, too. And so it was kind of like a whole story in there, and it's neat. And one of the reasons, if you go watch the episode, because you can look it up online, the Sharks did not invest in the product at the time. They loved the product. They loved the ice cream. They loved the whole show of it. They actually said to them, you guys just keep doing what you're doing. You'll be successful. You don't need us. And one of the reasons we later learned was his patent had not been approved yet when he went on. So he was kind of like a year too early, if you will. But we saw it. We were enthralled with it. We went out to Utah, which is where corporate's located. And what we did was we were ready to buy in. We hadn't even tried the product yet. We were just so hugely psyched about the whole process. And we were there eating lunch with the CEO when he actually got the phone call that his patent had been approved. So it was like all these stars.
Yeah, you're like, okay,
aligning.
we definitely need it.
Like, this is a
I was
sign.
like, I guess we're supposed to do this. So that's how we literally got involved in Sub-Zero. And we started in Nashua. And that's the first shop that's open here in New England. There's 60 across the country, 3 in China, 2 in Dubai. They're about to open up in the Bahamas.
Wow.
So it's an international franchise. There's over 60 now in the U.S. And just since last year we came on, they've increased by like 15, 16 stores across the U.S.
Oh my gosh, that's
so it's a
amazing.
growing franchise.
I'm picturing it there in the Bahamas. Is it on Paradise Island near Atlantis? And there's like a little area that has all the great places you want to go.
Yeah, I don't know exactly where it is yet, but it's some kind of big mall that's getting built out there.
Excellent.
You'll have to let me know because I'm going
I
to
know,
Paradise
just thinking
Island
that.
in September. So
Well, hopefully it'll be open by then, yeah.
I know, that'd
That
be
would be
nice.
awesome.
Imagine I go all the way to the Bahamas to have Sub-Zero. That'd be awesome. Well, you guys are right next door in Nashville, which is so convenient. Can you tell everyone your address?
Sure, it's 495 Amherst Street, right next to Nashua Community College. And if you jump off exit 7 or 8, we're down a little bit, maybe a mile down on the right.
Easy to find.
Very easy to find.
And the Greater Lowell Chamber will be finding you this month because we're having a mixer there.
Yes,
So
awesome. We're looking
super
forward to
excited.
that.
Ice cream for lunch. That
How can
title
you
can't go
alone.
wrong,
Oh,
yeah.
you cannot go wrong with that.
So what I want to do today is I want to show you guys some of we have a lot of different things that we do at Sub-Zero. This is not your average ice cream shop. So part of what we do is STEM enrichment programs, or STEAM, depending on what you want to say. And it's a big piece of the puzzle for us because CEO is a chemist, scientist. He patented this process like we talked about, and his wife was a teacher. So educating the youth of America is a huge part of what we do. So I'm gonna do a little quick change, Mr. Rogers type thing here.
Love it. So while you're changing, let's talk about some of the different events that you do besides schools. You do weddings,
We do.
catering.
So we'll talk about that in a few minutes.
Okay,
But we
great.
put on our
Your lab coats?
lab coats so we can look sciencey. You know, we've got geeky science
I love it.
glasses.
This is great.
So and we do this for. I just literally today came from a preschool, did these experiments for a preschool, but we do this all the way up through assisted living places. So it doesn't matter what age. People ask me like, what age, what schools do you go to? Elementary, preschools, K, all the way up through high schools, assisted living places. It's interesting. So it doesn't really matter how old
Definitely.
you are.
And people are lifelong learners. So
Exactly.
It's always good to learn something new.
So what we're going to do is a couple of the experiments that we do at the school. So I'm going to put some liquid nitrogen. All right, first thing I want to tell everybody is that this boils at negative 321 degrees. So you heard of boiling hot? That is boiling cold. You can see that it's boiling. And as soon as it comes out of the spigot, this is what we call the spigot, it evaporates. It starts to evaporate. And so that's exactly what's happening here. And you can actually hear
you
it.
can feel it too.
Yeah.
The,
You can
Emma's
feel
really
the
happy
cooler.
because it's humid out
It's
today,
so
so
hot
Emma's like
outside.
ready
I'm
to
like,
dunk her
yes.
head in it.
But there you go. But you see that cold air sinks.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is fog. This is not steam. It's not smoke. It's fog, and fog sinks. So we put some liquid nitrogen into the bowl, and now that we know it's negative 321 degrees, what do you guys think is going to happen if I put this balloon in here? What's your hypothesis?
shrivel up.
It'll shrivel up. What do you think?
It'll pop.
It'll pop. Okay, so those are the answers we typically get, right? It's going to pop, or it's going to freeze, it's going to shrink. So let's see. We're going to talk. This is where we're talking about the ideal gas law with the kids. Okay, so here we go. It doesn't pop. This is where we ask, who's a Tom Brady fan?
Oh,
Right?
Deflategate.
Exactly, because that's exactly what happens here. So it's the science behind this. It actually deflates. So it's pressure times volume equals temperature. Temperature goes down, the volume goes down. You can hear it's getting crispy.
Yeah.
And within seconds, you have a flat, crispy balloon. And as we bring it out into the warmth, look what's happening. It's reinflating.
wow.
So again, temperature goes up, the volume goes up. We talk to the kids, who has a summer birthday. Do you ever have your balloons outside in your birthday party and they start popping? That's because of the heat. It's making the balloons inflate and they actually pop. So that's one of the experiments that we do. Then let's do another one. We talk about density. Okay, what's heavier, what's lighter. We keep it simple for the younger kids, obviously. This is water with red food coloring in it. And that's because this is a clear liquid and so is water, so we got to be able to tell the difference. We also explain to them that 78% of what you're breathing is nitrogen. Okay, and so if we look at this bottle as an example, all the empty spots in our atmosphere is nitrogen, and the red has the oxygen, the water, the carbon dioxide, everything else. So the vast majority of what you're breathing every second of the day is nitrogen. This is not a chemical, it's an element that we're breathing all the time. So when people ask me, like, is this a chemical? Can you eat this? A, you know you can't eat it because it's extremely cold, and you're not going to be eating it when we make the ice cream. But we're going to put the liquid nitrogen right into the bottle. And the question is, which one's more dense? Which one's heavier? Which one's going to be at the bottom? So obviously the water's at the
Water,
bottom. It's
yeah.
more dense. So you put your hand on that, feel how nice and cold that is.
That feels so good.
Now this is air conditioning.
Very nice.
And you can see that the water is freezing,
Yeah.
making ice.
Yeah.
So we have a cloud building up in the bottle, basically. And we also have pressure building up in the bottle. That's why the fog is coming out of the bottle. And then we transition over to the next experiment where we're asking them, what do you think is going to happen if we put liquid nitrogen into an empty bottle, and then we have a cap with a balloon on top? So if I fill this with liquid nitrogen and I put this cap on, what's going to happen to my balloon?
It's going to inflate.
It's going to inflate, okay? Some people think it's going to pop. Some people think it'll deflate. You know, the answers that we get from the kids, which is great. That's what we want. We want interaction. This is not like everybody's listening to us lecture. This is interactive. So we put some in here, and then we're going to put the balloon on top, and sure enough, it starts to inflate. But it's actually not inflating very fast, is it?
No.
So if I put this whole thing into the water, do you guys think it's going to expand faster or slower?
Faster.
Slower.
All right, so we got a 50-50
Oh.
chance, right? Let's see what happens. Here we go. Definitely faster.
Ooh.
And of course, they all go wild when that happens. And that's because, yeah, exactly. Oh my God. So the water's warmer, so it's heating up the liquid nitrogen, which is causing more pressure to build up, cause and effect, right? We're teaching science concepts here.
Yeah.
And we asked them, now, I'm sure people have told you, do not put your tongue on a cold piece of metal in the winter, right?
Yes.
Yes. And I always ask who's done it, and hands always go up, which is kind of funny. But the reason why you don't do that is this.
Oh my gosh.
that?
Yeah, you can see.
That fast, this has stuck to the bottom of the bowl.
I know, and the whole bottle now is
Exactly.
icing over too.
And
It's
so,
not just the bottom, it's even up on the sides a little bit too.
exactly.
Wow.
And so we'll let that warm up a little bit, and I'm going to show you exactly what happens there. But those are some of the experiments that we do so that the kids can understand what's going on here. And why are these important? So you see here, you see the ice that formed? What color is this ice?
White,
White. What color are the ice cubes in your freezer typically?
clear.
So why is this white and that's clear?
'Cause it
Because
flows
this
faster?
formed much faster. So I want you to feel the smoothness of that.
It is so smooth.
It's extremely smooth. I tell the kids, listen, if you ever get a chance to go to Alaska and feel a glacier, This is what it feels like. Because it's so cold up there, the ice forms very quickly and it's much more dense.
Interesting.
So that's why we talk about density, all the science concepts as to why this makes the ice cream different. So those are some of the science components of it, which comes to your question of what's so different about this ice cream, because we get that question all the time.
Doing our change.
Now let's do our change. So what's different about this ice cream is it's very dense, smooth, and creamy. And that's because it freezes so fast that the crystals don't have time to grow. And so that is one of the things. And the other thing is that we have no air injected into our ice cream. Every other ice cream out there injects air into their product so they can bulk it up, okay, use less cream. We don't do that.
So yours is extra creamy.
It's extra creamy, it's extra smooth, it's extra
No
heavy.
ice crystals,
No
no
ice
freezer
crystals.
burn.
Yeah, no
That's
freezer
Sub-Zero.
burn.
So freezer burn is actually the air in the ice cream coming to the top. You know, if you think about water and oil put together, the bubbles come together and come to the rise to the surface. That's exactly what's happening to the air in your ice cream. So we don't have any of that happening. So those are the big things that make us different. Then the other fact is that we are all customizable. So when you walk into our ice cream shop, it's the only ice cream shop you walk into, there's 0 ice cream made, none. We're going to make exactly what you want to order. And we have 50 flavors and 35 mix-ins to choose from, which creates
Wow.
millions and millions of combinations of flavors. So you can get really creative. Some kid got bubblegum and sriracha one day,
Oh my gosh.
which couldn't have been too bad because he ate the whole thing,
Wow.
which was good. But, things like Dr. Pepper and cherry or pina colada and pineapple or pumpkin cinnamon cheesecake. We call it being a flavor artist.
What's your favorite?
Mine is peanut butter and chocolate.
Does it change? Like, do you go through
yeah,
phases?
I'm always trying something different. And that's the fun of it, right? You
Yeah,
can come
for
in.
sure.
You can come in every single day of the week and always get something different. Or you can come in and get the same thing you want all the time. So our stuff is not squirting out of a machine. It's not being scooped out of a bucket. It's actually being created fresh right before your eyes using the liquid nitrogen process. So it's entertaining, it's educational, and it's delicious science.
And it's allergy friendly.
And it's definitely allergy friendly. So to that point, we have, not only do we have our premium, our low fat, and our custard bases, but we also have lactose free. We have a soy or a cashew for non-dairy, or you can do Italian ices in any flavor combinations, and sorbets, which are also non-dairy. So literally non-dairy people can come in and get anything. They're not like subjected to chocolate or vanilla and that's it.
Yep.
They can come in and go crazy just like everybody else.
That's awesome, because I feel like that's rare to find these days where you have so many options for literally everyone.
Exactly. And we also have a no sugar added yogurt. So if you're diabetic,
Yep.
this is a lower sugar option. Our flavors do not have sugar in them. They're not syrups, they're flavors. So they're concentrated flavors versus we're not adding sweetness, we're adding flavor.
Very nice.
So those are some of the big things that make us different. People ask us all the time. And so the next thing that we do, besides being people coming to the store and going into schools and doing STEM enrichment programs, we also became merit badge counselors for the Boy Scouts.
Awesome.
So the boys can come in and they
cool.
actually can earn their chemistry merit badge with us.
I'm sure that's probably the best way possible.
I know,
Next summer
everybody's
would
getting
wanna
that
earn a
badge.
chemistry badge, yeah.
We've done over 250 boys at this point in the past year and a half come
Wow.
in and get their chemistry merit badge. So we do like groups of up to 25. So we have whole troops coming up from Worcester and everywhere coming up. Yeah.
Wow.
So that's another big thing. I mean, there is no other ice cream shops that's doing all
Yeah.
this, right? So people always ask us what makes you so different. These are all the different things that make us unique, if you will. Plus, we can dress up in our chef coats and we can go do weddings or bar mitzvahs or corporate events. We've been to those types of things down at the Revere Hotel, the Park Plaza down in Boston. We've been up to Loon Mountain. We've been down to Connecticut. We're all over the
You
place.
go all over New England.
We're going all over New England at this point because we are the only one here in New England currently.
Yeah.
So
Currently.
we definitely want to expand, of course. And so we are looking right now to start helping other franchisees get up and running anywhere in New England. All right, obviously the big parts, right?
Yep.
Somewhere near Boston, Worcester, Manchester, Portsmouth, Connecticut, Hartford. We own the rights to all of New England, which is what we bought into when we got into the franchise. And our job is to start expanding the brand. So I'm out there. I'm looking for you. If you're looking to start a business, this is an awesome one to start. Multiple revenue streams. You're not going to be just sitting in your store waiting for people to come in. You're out and about in the community constantly. And another piece of what we do is fundraisers. So we
Okay.
go out and we help nonprofits with fundraising opportunities. We were just up in Newfound Lake this weekend in New Hampshire, doing Swim with a Mission, which is a veteran. There was Navy SEALs up there. And so we go to these type of events. They allow us to sell, and we give 20% back to the organization.
Excellent.
That's
And
great.
Off
great
gross
weekend
sales.
for it,
Wow.
too.
Not off profit, off gross
Wow,
sales.
Wow, that's great.
That's amazing.
So that's another, it helps the communities, it helps our,
Yep.
different nonprofits that we're involved in, but it also is a revenue stream as well.
Great.
So we have multiple revenue streams in this type of company versus most ice cream shops. You're just waiting and hoping people are going to walk
because
in the
you
store.
you could travel with your product. It's not easy.
Right, much
That's a
harder.
whole other investment.
Exactly. So, and this is very simple. This is our portable liquid nitrogen tank, 50 liters. In our store, there's a 1,500 liter tank. It's 7 feet tall and 4 feet around,
Wow.
all piped into the counter. We use foot pedals to dispense the liquid nitrogen, so we have our hands free to, to make the ice cream and do the show, if you will, for everybody. We've been cranking busy all summer, obviously, and we did over 60 events in June alone. We're up to
amazing.
50 this month.
Oh, wow.
So we are extremely, extremely busy. So I would love some new franchisees out there, whether it's in the Lowell area or, Methuen, Haverhill, all these areas. I mean, they're ideal spots for a
You want
Sub-Zero ice
Lowell,
cream.
Okay? Greater Lowell.
I know.
They're lobbying for Lowell, guys. So
And you
somebody
get
must
Rita
be
and
out
Mark
there.
along with it, and you have all the tricks at this point. You know how to pack everything up to travel.
Exactly.
And, you can share your insights, which is huge for somebody who's starting a business.
Absolutely. And so franchising in general, that's great because you're working off of a system already. But when you have an area developer such as us, we've already been there, we've done
Yeah.
it, we know what works, we know what doesn't. Don't waste your money on X, Y, Z because it doesn't work. Going out in the community and working with your community, that's what works. People have to see the process, taste the product,
Yep.
then they understand what's going on, and then they're like, where are you guys located? This was awesome. This was the best ice cream I ever had. Literally, we get that constantly.
And it is. I mean, we've both tried
yeah.
it. We can attest to that. It's delicious.
And it's healthy. I mean, it's not. You're not
It's healthier
getting-
than normal ice cream, exactly,
sure.
because of the lower sugar content and the fact that
No
there's no
preservatives.
preservatives, there's no junk in it,
Yeah.
and it's all fresh. Some people come in, and they literally have all sorts of allergies, and they can't have dye, and they can't have this, and they can't have that. They could just have base cream, and we could put in strawberries, for instance, no flavor. We can do it that way if they want. We
Yep.
can accommodate really almost anything.
Well, I'm
That's
excited because
amazing.
my daughter has nut allergies, so you can't really go to an ice cream stand.
No, but what we do for nut allergies is it's like the first two questions we ask. Have you been here before? Do you have any allergies? Because then that directs the conversation.
Yep.
And if you have a nut allergy, then we will take whatever mix-ins that you want, and we'll take them from the back of the original containers, so there's no chance of cross-contact
Very nice.
from whatever's in the counter. And we'll also use fresh spades and dishers, so that not the ones in the dipper wells.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
that's
everything, we're very, very in tune to the allergy community. We're actually on allergyeats.com,
Great.
which is a website dedicated to families that have allergies, and
Yep.
it's basically star rating of restaurants and what kind of allergies they can accommodate. And the guy actually that started this website is out of Situate, Mass.
Oh,
I remember you
really?
telling me that.
Yeah,
That
he
is
has
so
5
cool.
kids,
Yeah.
3 have severe food allergies, and that's how we started
Yeah,
this.
yeah, that's great.
And he came out of his way from Vermont. They were on a vacation, and they took totally out of their way to Nashville so that the kids could all have ice cream. And he was just so enthralled with the whole thing.
Excellent.
And they actually, a couple times a year, they'll bring the whole family up
Wow. how
just
cool.
so they could all
great.
have ice cream. Yeah. So
What a nice testimonial.
it's really good. And he just told me that we had a really nice review that he put on the homepage of his entire
That's
site.
great.
That's huge.
this-
I mean, that's
this
well
month.
known throughout, families
Yeah,
whose
exactly.
children have allergies.
So that was huge.
That's
So little by little, we're getting that brand recognition built up. We're getting people to know who we are. We were just down in Boston on the Esplanade for the 4th of July.
How was
my
that?
That was
gosh,
awesome.
That must have been crazy.
Just my husband and I. right?
Oh my gosh.
We did 850 servings in 5 hours.
Whoa.
We had a nice line the whole time,
Wow.
but we were cranking busy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was awesome, you know?
Great.
There's
People-
probably people going back for seconds once they tasted it. They're like, I need to get some more.
Yeah, I want to try a different flavor,
I
you know?
know.
Exactly.
So-
Go ahead.
I was just going to ask, how long does this take to set up? If someone was interested in becoming a franchisee, they want to know what exactly the process is to travel and go to the events. How long does this take you?
Sure. We leave ourselves a half an hour when we get here, but it literally takes us like 10 minutes. Even for a
Oh,
wedding.
you were sitting pretty. We walked in and you're just
Oh,
sitting there.
yeah,
I'm
I
like,
was just
know.
waiting,
you're-
hanging out
you're
waiting for you
a pro.
guys.
We were running late.
But yeah, it takes literally 15 minutes to bring the stuff in, set up the table. Oftentimes the venue will have a table set up for us already, so we just have to put our stuff out
Yep, perfect.
and get cranking on making ice cream. And that's one of the big things that we're trying to do right now is get on preferred vendor lists for venues. I was just up at Zorvino's
Great.
winery this weekend, and they're like, you're all in for sure. You know?
That's great.
We do a lot with LaBelle Winery. We do a lot with the Ocean View in Nahant, various country clubs around here.
Great.
And so, you know, we're trying to get on those preferred vendor lists so that people come in, it's an option, they call us up, here's when your wedding is, daytime, here, show up. You know what I mean? Those are fantastic types of events for us, obviously, because it's a word of mouth thing that really, you know, builds it up.
So we have 10 minutes left.
Yeah, so let's transition
Show
over
us
to
the
making some
product.
ice cream.
Yeah.
Now that I've you know, made you wait long enough, huh? All right.
It's worth the wait.
So. Okay, so we start with the tools of the trade, if you will. We've got our typical bowl and our cups. This is a spade, and this is called not an ice cream scooper. This is called a disher because it does this.
Really? I
Yes.
never knew
So
that.
I didn't either
extra
till we got involved.
mechanism makes it.
So yeah, if you go home tonight and check this out and see which kind of scoop you
Oh,
have.
I just have a regular. I don't have
Do you have
that.
a scoop or do you have a disher? You might have both. A lot of
I have a
times people do.
disher.
This
We have a scoop.
This
Not
is
fancy.
Yeah, me too. No disher.
2.5 gallons of cream. So this is the way we get it. And just so we can show everybody how it comes. And then today we're going to make, let's see, I'm going to do something different today. We're going to do blackberry, because most people like a berry. But we have tons of different berry flavors in the store. You can mix and match flavors. So like for instance, you could put mango, strawberry, banana, and peach together.
Oh, wow.
Make
and then
your
you
own
could-
like little passion
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And it's really refreshing, which is great. But we'll just do one here today. And so what's going to happen is we're going to put the liquid nitrogen right on top of the cream mixture. And this is where the science comes in. So the liquid nitrogen is hitting the cream. It's negative 321 degrees. But what it's doing in the science world, all right, is basically it's transferring the cold to the cream, and as it evaporates back into the atmosphere, it's sucking the heat out of the cream, thereby freezing it.
Yeah.
And so you got to keep moving it around, otherwise, you know, it's just going to be a block. But it's forming like a crust on a pond, basically.
Yeah.
And so you move it around so that it goes down through the layers. And remember, this is a patented process. Took him 5.5 years to get his process approved, his patent approved, which is kind of amazing. But you know, it's the government, so.
I'm envisioning you at
Everything
the
takes a long
Esplanade doing that.
Oh yeah, we were
Do
making.
your arms kill you the next day?
I know, that must be a workout.
That's
It
a
seems
grind.
harder than it is. It really does. But that fast, you have awesome ice cream, and it's very, as we know, very dense, smooth, and creamy. Very heavy because there's no air injected into it. So we'll give you guys a cup, which is why I know this is why you actually invited me here.
Thank you.
And so you can have some ice cream, which is okay. It has not, people ask me, has this gotten old yet? I said, you know what? Unfortunately, no. It's not gotten old.
Thank you so much.
There you
Thank
go.
you.
So you can try that, and you'll see what we mean about smoothness, creaminess, density, heavy. How heavy that is, right? Just
It
that
is. Just
a
that
cup of
little
ice cream.
scoop, yeah.
It's so smooth.
It's so smooth because it freezes so fast that the crystals don't have time to grow. So they're tiny in the micro world. If you think about a snowstorm, right? When it's 0 degrees out, the snowflakes are small. When it's 30 degrees out, they're bigger. Think about the size of a crystal at negative 321 degrees.
Non-existent.
microscopic, it's just tiny, tiny. So you can't, it looks like regular ice cream,
It does.
but your tongue can taste the difference.
Yeah, it doesn't taste like
definitely.
regular ice
No.
cream.
So
It
when
tastes so fresh.
and that's
good.
exactly right? It's fresh. It's made right before your eyes. It doesn't get any fresher than this. And so it's not sitting in cartons. It's not sitting in machines. People don't realize, that the stuff in machines, especially the froyo places, I don't want to badmouth anybody, but things we've learned because we do a compare and contrast. What makes us different? We have to
Yeah.
let people know that that's a powder mixed with water that turns in those machines.
Really?
Yes, and so what happens is, as it comes out, it's so much air in it, it starts immediately melting, right? And you barely have time to get to your seat,
Oh,
and it's melting
interesting.
very
Yeah, that's
fast.
very true.
So the more air in an ice cream product, the faster it melts. So
There's
next time
no
you go
air in
somewhere
here.
for ice cream, besides Sub-Zero, I hope you'll come to us. But next time you do that, recognize how fast your ice cream's melting.
Interesting.
And so same thing with soft serve.
Yeah.
That's what those machines do. They pour the cream in and it has a dial. And they can select how much air gets injected into it while they're making it, while it's
Interesting.
churning around in the machine. And so that's why it's dripping very quickly, because the more air, the faster it melts.
What's
this-
the
this-
average percentage of air that's in different ice creams?
Anywhere from 50 to 100%
Wow.
is air. And when we first got up and running, we joined the New England Ice Cream Restaurant Association. We figured, all right, these guys have been making ice cream for a long time. We can learn something from them. And this is what we discovered. Overrun is the term. How much overrun is in your ice cream? They asked us. And we were like, what's overrun?
Zero.
We're new,
overrun.
remember? We don't
Yeah.
know what you're talking
Yeah.
about. So when they finally told us what it was, we were like, oh, we don't have any of that. And
They're
we
all
asked,
probably like, what?
Yeah, exactly. And we asked them, and the answer was 50 to 100%.
Wow.
If it goes over 100% overrun, which means it's more than half air, they cannot call it ice cream. So when you go to the grocery stores and you see frozen treats, that's because there's more than half air in that product, and they can't call it ice cream.
Oh my God.
Did you ever wonder that? Like, why
Yeah.
do they not? Why is this
Yeah.
called a frozen treat, not ice cream?
Yeah.
Because there's more than half air in the
so
product.
interesting.
That is so
Wow.
interesting. You
So
would-
things that we've learned.
Yeah.
I know. The average person would not know that.
No, until you get involved in an industry, right, and you learn all
Right.
the ins and outs and how everything
And
works.
how they make everything look sound good, like overrun.
Yeah.
Air.
Or like,
AKA
sure,
air.
yeah, AKA free air, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're paying for half air.
seriously.
And that's
In a lot of
exactly what
places,
happens, But it's where everybody's used to. And the cool part about this is if it starts to melt, we can refreeze it, and it's good as new. Again, because there's no air in it. It's all about the air content in that case. And so we will never get freezer burned ice cream.
That is
Now
amazing.
you can come in and buy pints and quarts from us. It's only available at our shop at 495 Amherst Street up
Yep.
in Nashua. You can't buy it in grocery stores because it's all about the experience.
Yep.
And it's about the customization.
So it's made there while you're there. It's not
Yes.
like you grab
So
it from a freezer.
Nope, we have
right?
nothing pre-made. So you come in, you say, I want to take a pint of my favorite ice cream, my
Awesome.
a
That's so
sensation,
cool.
which is what's on this poster right here. This is called a sensation.
Oh, wow.
So they're kind of pre-recipe, because when you come in, you're like, oh my God, 50 flavors and 35
Yeah, it's
mixes.
overwhelming.
It's so
Yeah.
much, right?
Yeah.
And we're like, we have the sensation board, so you can just pick a number 2 if you like chocolate, you know what I mean, type of thing.
Perfect.
And it comes with a homemade waffle bowl. So everything's
Very
made
nice.
fresh in our shop.
So we have 2 minutes left. So we definitely want you to give your address again, ways that folks can get in touch with you, and
Sure.
kind of the different ways that people can get your ice cream.
Awesome, sure. So 495 Amherst Street, up on Nashua, in Nashua, next to Nashua Community College. And my phone number is 603-327-9694. That's my direct cell. If you're interested in bringing us in for some kind of catering event, or the best way to get a hold of me is, because I'm always doing stuff like this, is to send an email, which is subzeroNashuaNH@AOL.com. And for those of you out there who are interested in finding out more about franchising, definitely please send me an email. And there's a lot of information on the website, www.subzeroicecream.com. That's the corporate website, and we all funneled through the corporate website. But if you're specifically looking for a catering event or franchise information, you just fill out the form that's on there, and they will directly send it to me,
Great.
because we're the people in charge here in New England. So
Thank you for such a fun segment. We
Thank
really
you.
appreciate it, but I'm sorry, I want to wrap this up. So
I
can keep
know.
on eating, so goodbye, we'll be back.
Thank you. Have a great day. Enjoy your summer.
LTC programming is supported by
Does your business want to be identified as a community partner?
តើអ្នកមានបំណងចង់ឲ្យក្រុមហ៊ុនរបស់អ្នកជាដៃគូសហគមន៍ដែរឬទេ
Reach 30,000 households in Lowell as an LTC programming underwriter.
អ្នកអាចសម្រេចគោលបំណងនេះបានដោយធ្វើជាអ្នកឧបត្ថម្ភកម្មវិធីម្នាក់របស់ទូរទស្សន៍ LTC ដែលអាចផ្សព្វផ្សាយព័ត៌មានទៅដល់ 30,000 គ្រួសារនៅក្នុងទីក្រុង Lowell.
Get the details at ltc.org/participate.
Hi, and welcome back to Chamber Chat TV. We ate our ice cream. We're happy campers. And
Very
we're
happy.
going into another awesome segment. I'm Danielle McFadden, president of the Chamber, joined by.
Emma Brooks, Director of Member and Community Relations.
So we're going from ice cream to travel. What a show.
I know, this is like the
Stick
best
a
show
fork in me,
ever.
I'm done. We're joined by Gabe Garavanian from Garavanian Travel, a guest, no stranger to Chamber Chat TV or radio.
Yes.
And you brought a wonderful guest. We have Melissa Oskurt. She's with Royal Caribbean Cruise Line.
Thank you so
Yay.
much. And two wonderful things, vacation and ice cream. I mean, people
They
are
go hand
happy,
in
right? They go
hand.
hand in hand.
So let's talk about Royal Caribbean, kind of give us the overview, and then we'll kind of dive into some specifics.
Again, thank you for having us. But Royal Caribbean, we actually have 26 ships all together in our entire
Amazing.
fleet.
Wow.
The company's been around since the 70s, so you know many people have seen ships evolve over time. But out of our 26 ships, we go all over the world. We go to Europe, to Hawaii, Alaska, Panama Canal, throughout the Caribbean, Bermuda. Lots of sailings that are in the Northeast that are close to get to, but we really go worldwide now and offer our guests so many different options.
And you have such loyal customers. Actually, I was in a meeting recently, and somebody said something about a cruise, and someone said, "Oh, well, my cruise ship." He goes, "Oh, I only do Royal Caribbean." So
Oh, that's
I
so
don't
great
even
to
know.
hear. No, that's so great to hear. And actually, with our guest satisfaction, what happens is when our guests leave the ship, within 12 hours, they get an email to give us all types of feedback. And 98% of our guests have always said they'll come back. So that is a
Awesome.
great
That's
testament to
great.
say we love the product and we're ready to come back. So.
I always tell people one story on the Serenade when they brought that to Boston. They always have an open mind. The only thing I did not like with that class of ship was that came out in the 90s. The coffee shop was at the end of the ship. And I said, I just had young ones then. So if I go to the coffee shop, they can be picking at all the knickknacks. Ship comes in, they move the coffee shop to the middle of the ship. I'm saying
That's
yeah,
such great feedback.
yeah.
They probably loved hearing
Exactly.
that.
They got tired of it.
Yeah.
And it was like 3 months after the ship was built. It was
Right.
amazing. I'm
No, a
like,
lot of our feedback does come from those comments and really the guests. And really we have, you know, from young, small children all the way up to any age group whatsoever. And a lot of multi-generational families will come. And because a cruise is a very easy way to make everyone happy at once. So.
And you don't have to worry about transportation. Like,
really
and that sounds
don't.
silly because you're on a boat, so obviously you don't. But that's half the battle. If you're going with a bunch of people, to have to rent cars wherever you
Right.
are. I mean, you're on a cruise. You're set it and forget it. There's something for everybody.
A lot of people will talk about even Europe, and Europe, even going to Europe is a wonderful way. You go to Europe, you could do a bus tour, and that's a wonderful trip where you fly and you spend your time in one country. But I always like to remind people that a cruise is an option, and to your point, I always like to say, and then this is how you get there. We have many ships that might start in Barcelona and end in Rome, and you're getting to do all these beautiful trips of stopping in France and Spain and Italy. But the transportation is so easy. You go on your tours all day, you get back to the ship, you sleep. Instead of being on a bus or something like that, it makes it much easier.
Definitely.
Yeah.
also what we find convenient, I had done the Mediterranean, the Greek islands, started out in Venice. We stayed 3 nights in Venice before we did the itinerary. So you got to see one city really full, something different with Italy. And Venice is my favorite city.
It is, and it's a nice combination, you're right, with land, because a lot of guests will come in to Garavanian Travel and say, well, maybe the husband wants to do land, and maybe the wife wants to do a cruise, or the family, or they might have 5 or 6 people and different opinions. It's a great way to combine both, a little bit of land and a cruise. Yeah, it's a great option.
I'm going to say it to you. I know I've said it before, but you have a really hard job. Like, I feel so bad for you. Every
do.
time I see you, you're like, yeah, I was here.
No, one of the I like to go to different places, the up and coming places, and one of the up and coming places a couple weeks ago we went to was Cuba, on the Empress of the Seas. It's totally different than anything people can imagine. I don't know how somebody does that without a travel professional, but we'll get into that in a second. The port, people don't realize, we get so spoiled here in the United States. The port is small, so they have to use their smaller ships. And right now, they seem to be getting everything bigger and brighter, so they're using one of the older ships. It comes in. There are a lot of things people have to know about Cuba. One, you need to have a visa, and Royal Caribbean is very good about that. Fill your application out before you come here. You still have people that go there, it's not filled out. Royal Caribbean
nightmare.
understands, they explain to
Yeah.
them. Then you have to convert your money. Melissa knows this. There's two currencies. They have the kook and they have the
kook?
yes,
I love
that's
it.
what it's called, and the Cuban pesos. If you have the Cuban pesos, you're going to own that for a long, long time. So they tell you Royal Caribbean's really good. They do a nice 50-minute presentation. They go over and they said, look, you want the kook, okay? When you take it, use what you have. If you need more, you can exchange it at the hotel or there's a place just outside the ship. And then what you're not going to use, convert it back to U.S. dollars.
Interesting.
But it's really smart.
That's great information.
It's really all the ins and outs.
Yeah.
Like you said, from a travel perspective. The other part Gabe and I were talking about Cuba is the itineraries that a lot of them include an overnight in Havana. But to your point, Gabe, a lot of people will go through our wonderful brochure. We also have some nice day trips in Havana that you're there for the day. But if I sat down with someone face to face, that Gabe does every day, to say, listen, I really suggest Cuba, but going on the itineraries that you're there a full day and a half, some 2 full days. And not everyone reads everything. So it's always nice to have someone to do everything and really be knowledgeable. But he does have a great job. You're right, because he gets to go tons of places.
But it's
And that's work.
It is, right. It's really that knowledge, coming back with that knowledge and be able to give that to your clients, for sure.
you know, the different excursions, that's where they really need help when they're there. But people don't realize the beaches aren't really open yet. It's still coming. We've only been there for about 4 or 5 years. Some people are going there, but there's no facilities at the beach. There's no food, and this is some of the reasons. In a couple of years, it'll come. You can see it coming as it goes on. And then my favorite thing to do was we rented their taxis, cars, and do a tour, 4 or 5 hours going through Havana and up to where Hemingway's house was. That's a common one. And you rent the old cars, the 50s convertibles.
Yeah, they
That was
also
fun.
like that down there, all
They
the old
really are.
cars.
They really are, and that adds to the atmosphere because when people, and I have visited Cuba in April this year. I brought my 17-year-old, and it's truly like no other place you've been. And knowing, you know, you're gonna kind of be a step back in time.
Yeah.
And all the historical sites that you can have for sure. So it really is an exciting port. It really is.
And I'll embarrass my daughter. So we get up, and the fort is pretty incredible. It overlooks, and you can see how it blocked traffic from coming in. We go in, and there's the missiles. There's a monument of the Cuban missiles. She goes, "Dad, what's that?" I said, "That's the Cuban missiles. That's the reason why we haven't been here since '62, right?" She goes, "I don't understand that." And you give it the old, "What are they teaching you at these schools?"
It's interesting.
That's fine. But, you know, the people, you know, one of the things I didn't realize in Cuba, the people are extremely friendly. They're still rationing food there. So everyone is even Steven, right? I mean, they don't understand. If you gave them a $200 tip, they wouldn't know what to do with it because they all have the same amount of money. And they're all good at having a friend that sells Cuban cigars. I saved probably about $70 or
I got a
$80
guy
on
for
that.
this.
Right.
As I was smoking them on the back of the ship by Boleros. And I'm going in there, you go, "Geez, Gabe, I can't believe you got those type." I go, "Yeah." I checked out ahead of time. I went through.
Wow, too funny.
It's all in the know. That's great.
There's so many advantages of working with a travel agent.
There really is. And what people don't realize, not just Royal Caribbean, but it doesn't cost anybody extra. When you go into a travel partner and you get their expertise and they put together, it would be the same price if so many people think, okay, Melissa, I want to call Royal Caribbean. And we have wonderful call centers, but they really don't have the knowledge that travel partners have. So it doesn't cost anyone extra. So
It's amazing. And you usually kind of get a little bit extra. When I was saying how I went to Bermuda
yes.
last May, and I actually got a room upgrade. I had the best, we got there that night and we didn't leave the room. We got room service. The view, I said, we're not going to be at a restaurant where the view is this good. It's amazing. So we just had takeout and sat out on the deck of the room. I mean, if these places get to know the travel agent, a lot of times
That's
they're
exactly
taking care
it.
of their people.
That's exactly it.
On yours, it was the tour company too. We used the right tour
Yeah,
company,
yeah.
and it works. You give them the business, they help you out. They said, okay, fine. They VIP the clients.
Oh, it was, I definitely felt like a VIP. I was a pregnant VIP when I was a pregnant VIP.
Double VIP.
Adam was happy. That's all I'm
And when we
asking.
went to Bermuda, there were so many pregnant women because everybody was afraid of the Zika virus.
Oh, right, going.
So, I mean, you
little
couldn't,
further
you
south.
couldn't turn to the left or to the right without bumping into somebody that was pregnant. So there's my little fun travel fact.
That's funny.
Back to Royal Caribbean, one of the things I like about them is, like, when they came out with the Oasis class, there's 24 eating venues on there. Of all the places, I like Central Park Cafe, and my girls give me a hard time about that. It's like they make
Right.
panini sandwiches, that type of thing.
And that's really what we're known for, Royal Caribbean having the largest ships in the world. The poster in the front displays that, which is wonderful. But I mean, as you can see, we have all different neighborhoods, all different things to do, all different dining ventures. And that's really what people are looking for a family vacation, is all different choices. So we're really proud to say we have 5 of the largest ships in the world. Well, really 5 plus more, because we kind of outdo ourselves when we're building new ships.
The ship they had that came up before this was called the Harmony of the Seas. It had 6 slides on it. 3 are dry slides, which I didn't know what a dry slide was. And then
There's this
I saw
purple
it.
slide right here, which is kind of cool. It's in the very back of the ship. But what's kind of neat, 2 people will enter and have a little helmet with a GoPro on it. And then you race down in this dry slide. And at the end, in kind of this burlap bag, if you will. So anyone can do it from age 3 all the way up to 93. They race down. It takes about 11 seconds to go about 13 floors. And then at the end, we send you a link with just the link that will show you screaming in terror to your favorite song that you've selected.
That's so much
So
better
it's
than
kind of
Slack
fun.
Up.
Exactly. So all these, that's kind of one example of all these things. We have flow riders, we have basketball courts, we have rock walls, we have escape rooms, we have all these different things that really clients and really the industry is looking for. They're looking for so many different choices on board when they do. We're not just building big ships for the fact of big ships, we're building really big ships to have choices for people.
Are you finding that there is kind of like the it cruise these days?
I would say really for those larger ships that people are looking for the family vacations, the school vacations. A big part of Royal Caribbean is that we are the family market, that we feel we have all the activities on board for families. Either you want to do all these things, or a lot of people just want to watch maybe the grandkids or the kids or the nieces and nephews do them as well, which is wonderful. So I would say really, if there was one cruise out of our 26 ships, it's like a home run, that 7-night Caribbean departure either from Florida or San Juan, or we have a beautiful ship that's right out of Galveston, Texas. And a lot of people like to have maybe 7 or 8 days off for a vacation too.
Yeah.
So I always say that's a home run. If you're looking just for a nice warm weather destination, especially as you know, we're all New Englanders, nothing better from January to May to get out of Dodge. That is really a home run type of itinerary.
A question I get asked a lot, I mean, they have 26 itineraries. Well, which one's your favorite one to go on? It depends what you want to do. Like, I mean, I loved when we did the Greek Islands. Okay, yeah, I wanted to do the Greek Islands. That's totally different than doing the Caribbean. When I did the Caribbean, we had done it on the Oasis of the Seas. I loved that when it went in, but it's all what your family wants to do.
It really is, and really, it really tends to be maybe Caribbean's more ship focused. People are looking at these newer ships, and then when Europe, Greek Isles, Cuba, those more exotic destinations, the destination is really the choice first. When people ask me, Melissa, where should I go? And what do you envision for your vacation? Because everybody's a little different, you know?
And that's a great point, because a lot of times people will just say, oh, what's your favorite, and assume that's what they're going to go on. But as a travel agent, your job is to say, well, no, let's talk a little bit about you. This isn't about me.
That's
Yeah.
exactly, asking those questions. And we all know Gabe's a good talker, so he asks a lot of good questions to say, really, because what my vacation, you know, highlights are could be totally different, of course, from somebody else. Everybody's vacation and what they dream of to experience with themselves, their family, is totally different.
It's an investment for
It
folks.
really
you know?
is.
It-
We all
it-
work very hard, and
Yeah.
those vacation days are really important. You want to make sure you get it right.
You get different themes. One, now what we're getting a lot of, instead of the big inheritance, they said, no, we don't want to do the big inheritance. We just want to do a family vacation, use the money for that, and you'll see a group of 30 to 40 family members go. That's common. Also, you know, this is the last trip we do before we go to college, and then we're going to have different weeks off and that type of thing, and we get that. That's what we've been getting a lot of. We do get the honeymooners too, but that's a whole different thing. But as far as the groups, that's what we're getting a lot of, those infinity groups like that.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
they like it.
people are all about the experiences. Instead of spending their money on things, they want to spend their money on experiences and creating memories.
Right. This is exactly right.
And with the Royal Caribbean, I mean, if somebody's been to, if they go to a port and you have a group together, somebody's been to that port before, you know, I don't want to do what the rest of the family do. No one gets bent out of shape. Okay, fine. You're not going to see it for 3-4 hours. You'll survive. We're going to do this.
And that's a really great point, port of call. We talk about the ships a lot, but I also suggest when people are they're not sure where to go, is look at what you want to experience in the island. Okay, maybe you 100% you want to know you want to cruise, and look at, for example, we'll just use Caribbean, an itinerary like San Juan, St. Thomas, St. Martin, St. Kitts, and you can look and see what type of tours or experiences you want in those ports of call. I just had one. I was in an account early this morning, and the daughter wanted to go swimming with the dolphins. So that was the starting point. Okay, where can we go to swim with the dolphins? So to your point, it's really about the experience, what they're looking to do, and then kind of building around that, you know, so.
When you're dealing with groups of 30 to 40 people, you're like a magician.
Yeah.
Well, you learn different things. Like, it's funny. The ship stopped in Key West on the way to Cuba. I've been to Key West 4 times. I said, oh, let's try something different. Melissa
He said to me, Melissa, I've been to Key West 4 times. I'm like, have you been kayaking in the mangroves in Key West? Wait, there's mangroves there? Yes, there are.
I
So-
hadn't-
I know I would love
Right.
something like that.
Yeah, but I hadn't done it. And part of the reason is we've got 3 out of 4 that are coordinated, and 1 just is just awful. Okay, it's like, all right, just take your paddle out of the water. Okay, so we went into kayaking. Of course, the younger daughter, me and her were in single kayaks, and she's with the mother. And yes, the mother's the one that's uncoordinated. And we're out there, we're having a blast, and you hear, Mom, take the paddle out of the water. Take it out. You don't even know what you're doing. And we had a blast. We had an absolute blast. And the other families were out there too. And it was a lot of fun. It was the best kayaking trip
It really
I've ever
was.
done. I've done kayaking before, but it was relaxing. If I was by myself, I would have done something more aggressive, but it was absolutely
It's
perfect.
the first time I've ever seen a manatee right up close. It was so you really saw a lot of wildlife. So I always suggest that to folks, and really for our avid cruisers, and going back to what you mentioned before, people coming back. Some people have been to St. Thomas before, or Key West, but sometimes I say, well, there's lots of things to do. Have you ever gone over to St. John from St. Thomas? Just take the ferry over for the day. So I always kind of suggest to people when they're looking, it's really about the experiences for their family. It really is.
I was lucky last year when we went. The ship stopped in St. Thomas. Of course, the older daughter has to go shopping in St. Thomas. That's good. See you later. Right? I had already been to St. Thomas. Me and my younger daughter went over to St. John's. And then a month later is when they got hit with a hurricane. We were so lucky we went. I said, all right, it's not going to be like this again. It's about 80 to 90% back. But I mean, it just, you're at some of these places. You might not be there again.
Devastating.
And it was awesome. We also had started in Puerto Rico, so we got to see everything before it was damaged.
So we have 2 minutes left, if you can believe it. We could talk
Wow.
about this for
I
hours.
know.
What else do you want the viewers to know about Garavanian travel and about Royal Caribbean?
Well, why don't I start a little with Royal, and then you bring it home, Gabe?
Bring it home.
I mean, Royal Caribbean, we just really feel, if you haven't been on a cruise before, check it out, try it. Again, we have from 3 nights all the way up to 17 nights. I have a lot of folks that visit us at trade shows to say, you know what, cruise isn't it for me, and blah, blah, but my wife would like to try one. We have a 3 or 4 night, try it out, and also the value. It's a great value if you're really looking for budgets and things in terms of where you're going. You're really getting a lot for your money that's included. And just a variety of ships and destinations. So check it out and give Garavania Travel a call, and they can help you out. Look at anything.
And people ask me this question a lot. You know, which ship is your favorite one? My favorite company to work with is Royal Caribbean. Overall, best value. Is it the least expensive? No. Is it the most expensive? No. It's right. It's absolutely, it's a great value. And you have a chance to win one at the Spinners.
That's right.
We are working with
very
Royal Caribbean.
exciting.
It started out with Joanne Weber for her charity for pancreatic cancer. Now they do a different charity every year, and somebody will win a cruise with Royal Caribbean. We will be there for a couple of nights in August.
Then they can come visit the table, and they fill out an entry form. No purchase needed at all, and they can just add you into the drawing to win a free cruise.
That's
We'll definitely have to
awesome.
plug that on our social media.
I know.
There's no cost to come to the table anyway and ask us questions about Royal Caribbean. That's free.
Awesome. And wealth of knowledge, for
We try to
sure.
be.
Thank you both so much for being here. This was so fun.
Thank you
Thank
for
you
having
very
us.
Thank you all for tuning in this month. We'll be back again next month. Check out our website. I like the wave. GreaterLowellChamber.org for all of the upcoming events that we have going on and for our list of members. Thank you so much.
Great, thank
Thank
you.
you.
LTC programming is supported by
Does your business want to be identified as a community partner?
តើអ្នកមានបំណងចង់ឲ្យក្រុមហ៊ុនរបស់អ្នកជាដៃគូសហគមន៍ដែរឬទេ
Reach 30,000 households in Lowell as an LTC programming underwriter.
អ្នកអាចសម្រេចគោលបំណងនេះបានដោយធ្វើជាអ្នកឧបត្ថម្ភកម្មវិធីម្នាក់របស់ទូរទស្សន៍ LTC ដែលអាចផ្សព្វផ្សាយព័ត៌មានទៅដល់ 30,000 គ្រួសារនៅក្នុងទីក្រុង Lowell
Get the details at ltc.org/participate.